Today, we're jumping into a really fantastic action-packed story from the epic Mahabharata. It's this incredible tale of survival, some wild supernatural encounters, and an absolutely stunning display of power from one of its greatest heroes, the mighty Bhima.
So let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in a moment of just total desperation. You've got the 5 royal Pandava brothers and their mother Kunti, who have just barely escaped an assassination attempt. I mean, the palace they were in was made of flammable wax and set on fire to kill them. Now they're on the run, fleeing into the wilderness with literally nothing.
All right, so let's get into this first part of their journey. This is where the family's survival rests entirely on the shoulders, and I mean that literally, of one man.
Yeah, the situation here is pretty grim. They're totally vulnerable, they managed to escape the fire, but now they're lost in this dark, dense forest. They're exhausted, they're starving, and their mother, Kunti, is so worn out that she can't walk another step.
And this is the breaking point. The eldest brother, Yudhishthira, turns to their only real hope. He says this to his brother Bhima, basically admitting that they've hit the limit of normal human endurance. The only way they can possibly move forward is through Bhima's incredible, almost godlike strength.
And what Bhima does next is just wow. He lifts his mother onto his shoulders, he puts his twin brothers on his hips, and then he just picks up his other 2 brothers in his arms and charges straight into the woods. The text says he crashes through the forest like an angry elephant, literally making a path where there wasn't one. He carries his entire family like this all through the night.
After hours and hours of this, they finally find a place to stop and rest. But as they fall asleep, they're not alone anymore. Their fight for survival is about to take a very supernatural turn.
Okay, before we go any further, let's quickly talk about this new threat. What is a Rakshasa? Well, think of a powerful, often man-eating, supernatural being. They're sort of like the giants or ogres of Hindu mythology, and they're known for being incredibly fierce and having magical powers, like shape-shifting.
And this is where the main conflict really gets going. The local Rakshasa, a guy named Hidimba, smells the humans and orders his sister, Hidimbi, to go hunt them down for dinner. But, and this is a big but, when Hidimbi sees the powerful Bhima standing guard, she doesn't see a meal, she sees a husband. So you have this instant clash between hunger and desire.
So in her true form, Hidimbi is absolutely terrifying. The story describes her with blood-red eyes, bright orange hair, and these long, sharp claws. She's every bit the monster her brother wanted her to be.
But remember, she is a shapeshifter, so she uses her magic and completely transforms herself. She approaches Bhima not as a monster, but as this breathtakingly beautiful woman, wearing fine silks and amazing jewelry. You know, she's hoping to win him over with charm instead of terror.
And she does not beat around the bush. After explaining who she is and why her brother sent her, she just comes right out and confesses her love for Bhima. She offers him a deal, plain and simple. Marry me, and I'll use my magic to get you and your whole family to safety.
But here's the part that tells you everything you need to know about Bhima. He's just been offered safety, pleasure, and escape from this whole nightmare. And his response is this. His loyalty is unshakable. There's no way he's going to abandon his family just for himself. It's a perfect look into his character and his deep sense of duty.
Well, Hidimbi's plan has failed. And worse, she took too long. Her brother Hidimbi gets impatient and shows up on the scene, and he is furious. The time for talking is definitely over.
Hidimba is just enraged when he finds his sister in human form trying to seduce his dinner. He sees it as a total betrayal, not just of him, but of their whole kind. And he flat out says he's going to kill her right along with the Pandavas.
Now, as this giant monster rushes forward, Bhima does something that is just so Bhima. He intercepts the Rakshasa, but before the fight really starts, he grabs him and drags him a good distance away. I mean, even in a life-or-death fight, his first thought is, don't wake up the family.
Okay, so the battle that happens next is absolutely legendary, and it kind of unfolds in stages. First you have Bhima's challenge, this protective roar. Then they start grappling, and they're so powerful they're just smashing through the forest like 2 giant elephants. The noise wakes everyone up, and his brother Arjuna, seeing Bhima getting a little tired, cleverly starts taunting him to fire him up. And it works. It pushes Bhima to dig deep and find the strength to end this.
Fueled by this new rage, Bhima lifts the massive Rakshasa clean over his head. And then, in this just unbelievable feat of strength, he whirls the giant around 100 times before slamming him back down to the ground. 100 times.
The giant is dazed, but Bhima isn't done yet. He lifts Hidimba's barely conscious body one last time, and with a final, brutal show of force, he breaks the giant's back against a huge tree, and that is the end of the threat.
And just like that, it's over. The giant's roar echoes one last time through the trees and then fades, leaving this sudden, peaceful quiet in the forest.
With the monster gone, Bhima doesn't just celebrate that his own family is safe. He makes this declaration. He gets that what he did was bigger than just himself. He's made this whole region safe, ridding it of a terror that preyed on anyone who passed through.
So what do we really take away from this story? Well, first, we see exactly who Bhima is. A man of incredible strength, sure, but his defining trait is his absolute devotion to his family, his dharma. We also see that even when they have nothing, the Pandavas won't compromise their honor. And really, this whole battle is a perfect example of how the Mahabharata weaves together these very human struggles with epic supernatural conflict.
So Bhima has conquered the demon of this forest, but this is just one single chapter in a much, much larger story. For a family of princes who are living in exile disguised as commoners, the world holds dangers that are way more complicated than a simple monster. Their greatest trials, believe me, are still to come.